When life breaks you, you have two choices: stay broken or learn to rebuild. Have you ever felt that life has been hard on you, as if it robbed you of something precious, only to teach you something greater? This is the story of a young man who learned this truth in the hardest way imaginable. It is a story about losing everything only to find himself. He was just a boy, sharing a smile with his parents on a small boat, adrift on a peaceful ocean. The sun warmed their faces, and the gentle waves whispered promises of a beautiful day. But the ocean is a master of disguise. Without warning, the sky turned dark, and the calm sea became a monster. Giant waves, like angry fists, crashed over their small vessel. The world became a chaotic symphony of wind and water, and in a terrifying moment, the boat capsized. Everything went black. He had lost them. He woke up on a deserted shore, the sand cold beneath his cheek. Before him lay a vast, silent forest, its emerald canopy stretching as far as the eye could see. He was alone. The silence was deafening, a constant reminder of the voices he would never hear again. Grief was a heavy cloak, and he wandered through the endless trees, a ghost in a green world, simply trying to survive. Days bled into nights, and the forest silence became his only companion, his teacher. Pain does not destroy you. It introduces you to your strength. At first, every moment was a battle. Hunger gnawed at his stomach. Fear was a constant shadow, and the cold nights brought no comfort. Flashbacks of happier times, of his mother's laugh and his father's steady hand, would flicker in his mind, each memory a fresh wave of sorrow. He was tempted to give up, to let the forest claim him, to simply stop. But deep within the agony, a tiny spark of defiance flickered. A voice, perhaps his own, perhaps a memory of his parents, whispered, "Live." And so he began to fight. He gathered fallen branches, and with clumsy, determined hands, started building a crude shelter. He watched the animals, learning to fish with a sharpened stick. He discovered which berries were safe to eat and which roots held water. With every small victory, his self-reliance grew. He was no longer just a victim of the storm. He was a survivor. Alone under the vast, starry sky, he began to talk to the stars, sharing the stories he could no longer tell his parents. He found a piece of charcoal and began to draw on smooth rocks, his grief and his hope spilling out into art. In the heart of his isolation, his spirit began to bloom. The moment you stop running from pain, you start walking toward wisdom. The forest was no longer a prison, but a mirror of his inner world. The winding paths were like the twists and turns of his own mind. The tall, unyielding trees taught him about standing strong. The patient flow of the river showed him the power of persistence. He found a strange peace in the solitude. He began to keep a journal, scratching his thoughts onto large leaves, documenting his journey not just of survival, but of self-discovery. He realized the pain wasn't something to escape. It was a guide, a force that was carving him into someone new, someone stronger. He learned to be grateful for the sunrise, for a successful hunt, for the simple act of breathing. Years passed. The boy who washed ashore, broken and terrified, was now a man. His hands were calloused, his gaze was steady, and a quiet wisdom lived in his eyes. One day, he walked out of the forest and returned to the shore. He stood before the ocean, the same ocean that had taken everything from him. But there was no fear in his heart, no anger. He looked at the powerful, rhythmic waves, and he smiled. He understood now. Losing his parents was not the end of his story. It was a violent, heartbreaking beginning. It was the event that forced him to dig deep, to find the strength, the creativity, and the resilience that lay dormant within him. What broke him had become the very thing that taught him how to truly live. If one day you find yourself broken, lost, or afraid to start again, remember this story. Remember that the deepest cracks are where the light gets in. The hardest falls are often life's secret way of preparing us for our greatest rise. Every ending is just a hidden beginning, waiting for you to find it. Thank you for being here with us. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Orange Paws Stories for more inspiration. Your journey matters.